Whether the decision to go was tone deaf, look, it was obviously a mistake.
The winter storms in Texas are the effects of climate change.
In hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. I was trying to be a dad.
As residents of the state freeze.
And all of us have made decisions. When you've got two girls who have been cold for two days and haven't had heater power, and they're saying, hey, look, we don't have school. Why don't we go? Let's get out of here.
One senator felt Cancun was the wise destination. Texas has failed its citizens.
You're looking at live pictures from Dallas right now.
Here in Texas, residents are experiencing some of the worst winter weather of their lives. Two major storms hitting the state in the last 5 days, and another one on the way.
They failed their well-being. They failed their right to live, which brings us to the biggest celebrity the state has to offer.
We don't need to touch politics. We don't need to touch politicians.
Jerry Jones. Jones, a billionaire chairman of the Cowboys who colluded to keep Colin Kaepernick out of the NFL, is profiting off the storm. Bigly. You know, Donald Trump told you the game of the rich a long time ago.
You know what solves it? When the economy crashes, when the country goes to total hell, and everything is a disaster, then you'll have you'll have riots to go back to where we used to be when we were great.
He went on to say, I've always made more money in bad markets than in good markets. That was in 2007, which brings us to his pal, Jerry Jones, who owns a natural gas company called Comstock Resources. They've sold gas at premium rates. As demand jumps amid the cold, gas at some regional hubs has soared past $1,000 per million British thermal units. Jones's chief financial officer, Roland Burns, said this week is like hitting the jackpot with some of these incredible prices.
The record-breaking Arctic temperatures, snow, and ice have killed at least a dozen people nationwide and left more than 3 million more without power.
Yes, hit the jackpot. As Texans freeze and die from the cold, the company is publicly traded, but Jones holds a majority of the shares, which means, as they say, the rich get richer. Yet with all this, business is good for Jones, who 2 years ago had a total investment of $1.1 billion in Comstock, and there's not a peep from Jones. Meanwhile, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a congresswoman from New York, some 1,700 miles away, raised over $1 million in roughly 4 hours for the state. Jim McIngvale, aka Mattress Mac, opened up the doors to his store to those in need. But yes, let's go over the jackpot, shall we? 11-year-old Christian Pavone of Conroe, Texas, died of what authorities are investigating as a case of hypothermia after the family's home lost power over the weekend amid the temperatures. When Houston police officers conducted a welfare check, they found 2 adults and 2 children. The woman and girl did not survive, and the man and boy were taken to a hospital. This is what officers should be doing at this time, instead of escorting a disgraceful senator escaping the cold because he directly benefits off the backs of Americans struggling and unfortunately dying. This can't be hand-waved away as if it's entirely natural. This is happening not in spite of climate change, it's in part due to climate change, said Judah Cohen, who last year co-authored a paper that found a strong uptick in winter storms in the U.S. Northeast in the decade leading up to 2018. This, Cohen and some other scientists argue, is a symptom of heating in the Arctic, occurring at a rate more than twice the global average that is disrupting long-established climatic systems.